welcome back to the Ramses Rundown. I am the miasma, Zach Ramses. And here on the Ramses Rundown, we take a second to go into the mind of the Wraith, and you can hear a little bit about what goes on in here and what makes me tick, etc., etc. We talk about all different things in culture. Today we're going to talk a little video games. We're going to talk about a franchise that I hold dear, though I have a mixed relationship with, and that is the Assassin's Creed franchise. Assassin's Creed obviously goes back over 10 years now. I want to say it's the first one, 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. It actually might have been 2007, but it's been around for a while. I really got into it on the heels of the first one, right around the release of Assassin's Creed 2, which that I believe is 2009. But yeah, the Assassin's Creed games, again, just putting it right out there, some of my favorite games of all time. 2, Brotherhood, Revelations. That's my bread and butter right there. Those three, 2 and Brotherhood being at the forefront of that. That is just, to me, for the time, graphically it was awesome. You look back now and some of it's a little rough, but there's still some great stuff in there. Scenery-wise, how they handled, the European setscapes and all that type of stuff, they did a great job, even by the times there. Now it's kind of rough when, you look back at, when they're at Abstergo, or, when, you first see Lucy in 2, and it's like, wow, this was a major graphical jump from the first one, but boy, is it still rough. But that said, the good stuff is really good graphically, but gameplay-wise, I recently found myself replaying 2, where I bought the Ezio collection on PlayStation. I've had the bug to play some of the old ones for a little while here, and unfortunately, my Xbox 360, where I originally played them and have my save data, it's seen better days, so I figured, you know what, for the price, I believe it was about $40, how can you do better than getting Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations? It was a no-brainer. And so, replaying that, it's still, there's some wonky points, but in general, it plays very well still. It's a great combat system, I think, as far as, the abilities for different types of assassinations and things of that nature. Lots of fun within the actual combat. But to me, what was always fun is I'm a fan of sandbox games like that, where you have free reign to go wherever you want to do side missions, do the main missions. I love the actual build up to an assassination. Missions where it requires you to have to sneak around building tops and drop down and then assassinate someone. That's so much fun. And even beyond that, just the actual parkour type of climb and travel is a great deal of fun. All really good stuff. And my feelings are pretty much similar between, again, 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations. 3 I thought was good. I was very excited for 3 when it came out, and it didn't quite live up to my expectations. I didn't dislike it, but Connor, the main character there, he was not Ezio. He was not to a lesser extent, he wasn't Altair. So it wasn't as interesting in that regard. And I just thought that the American landscape wasn't as much fun as, Florence or any of the other places we had been in the last couple of games, even, Istanbul and Revelations. It didn't give me as much fun opportunity. And they added some stuff in there with, the hunting and this and that to try to diversify. It didn't really land for me in that way. But it wasn't a bad game. It was still good. Then for me, my drop-off point was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. And I know a lot of people love that installment. It's great for them, and kudos to you if it works for you. To me, my biggest issue with the franchise was, it was clear from the beginning what the goal was as far as the story. And again, I'm a story guy. It's like I'm in professional wrestling or something, right? The story of the original Assassin's Creed games was building up this 2012, which was, again, lined up time-wise with the story that is with real life, which was kind of cool and interesting and played on actual theories and stuff about the end of the world in 2012, etc., etc. So it was all lined up there, and then when they realized, hey, we can still make a shit ton more money if we just keep stretching this out, they kind of just said screw it to the main story that was building up to 2012, and they gave us a bogus ending where Desmond sacrifices himself, and ultimately nothing happens. And so 3, they kind of tried to like pick up, but didn't quite work. And then by the time we get to 4, it's a complete different side story here. And to me, that was so uninteresting. The main story within the Animus was fine, but I was never a big fan of ship combat. I know some people love that. To me, it wasn't enjoyable. As I said, what was enjoyable to me about the franchise was the open field, being able to do different types of assassinations, all that type of stuff. That's where I really found my enjoyment. So a lot of the additions they made in Black Flag they didn't quite land for Zach Ramses. And so at that point, it was the last one I bought. I dropped off there. I heard lots of mixed things over the years. You hear about one game was terribly glitchy and this and that, and I was like, well, it looks like I avoided some trouble here. But then in recent years, I've heard a lot of buzz about some good stuff. And I know kind of this whole last section here between, Origins and Odyssey, Valhalla now. I hear good stuff there. And so I have played with the concept of diving back into the Assassin's Creed franchise from where we're at now. Again, I like some of the ideas of some of these old, well-developed periods in time, like, ancient Egypt or, I'm not exactly sure where Valhalla takes place or where Odyssey takes place, but these are areas of time historically that I'm intrigued by. That's a factor there. And then, they look gorgeous. And again, like I said, I thought the old ones, even when you look back at them, there's some stuff that isn't, but there's stuff that really looks nice still. So I can only imagine how absolutely beautiful those games will look right now. So I'm intrigued. I might dive back in. But for me, I did do the old YouTube rabbit hole of where's the current story, because again, that's kind of what I'm interested in. And I don't love exactly where they're kind of at right now with the main story outside on Earth in real life. It looks like they're trying to kind of salvage it a little bit. They've done a lot of stuff with like the people who came before, Minerva and Juno and all those. And so they might have something there. I don't know. I might dive back in. But that's kind of my stance on the Assassin's Creed franchise from what I've played. Obviously, I know there's certainly plenty of people who will say, oh, well, you haven't played, Syndicate or this or that. And again, I don't even know which of those are good or not. But, you don't have full perspective. And that's fair. I can only speak to what I've played. But for what I have played, I know what I love. I know what didn't quite hit for me. I know what kind of got that sparkle in my eye again where I'm like, maybe it's time to dive back into this. So write in the comments if you think that Zach Ramsey should give the Assassin's Creed franchise a second go. If there's any particular entries that you think are great starting places or good places to return to, let me know. I'm open to recommendations, ideas. Overall, I've been a video game fan my whole life. In recent years, I haven't been as adept at being on top of new installments, unless it's a major franchise that I'm a lifelong fan of, or it's a reboot or something that I'll report that I definitely want to play again. But I'm not as into the culture as I once was. But that said, if there's something worth playing that does fit my type of style and what I'm into, I'm all for it. So give recommendations, let me know. If you want to hear more thoughts about my opinions on some video games or anything else in the culture, music, film, wrestling, whatever it may be, let me know. Like the video, subscribe to the Miasma Citadel, and check out more Ramsey's Rundowns. And hey, you heard it from the Miasma.